Hey, what's going on, guys? Against here. In this video I'd like to present a retro style shell inspired by ZX Spectrum I've developed for the purpose of using it to make new programming videos here on YouTube. So if you're interested, without further ado, let's actually have a look. Okay, so the very first thing to consider, even though it looks like a Python shell a little bit, it's not dependent on a certain programming language. So it's just a way how to edit a text file. So it's more like a code editor in the style of shell rather than an interactive shell for a specific language. So we can code in whatever language we want. And also we have the syntax highlighting for that as well. So let's try to draft a simple script in Python. So let's say import requests and then create response object equal to requests.get and https google.com. So something very simple. Now if we list the source code, we have all the lines we've just drafted here. So let's say I want to add a commentary above this line number 3. So how to edit the existing text, you might wonder. So in this case I can say insert and then the line number 3. So the line number I want to insert the commentary above, and here we want to say like make http get request and list again. So here we go. Also we can clear the console and list again. Let's say we want to delete a certain line, so I can simply say delete and line number 5 and list, and we no longer have the line number 5. Okay, so let's also print our response object and response.text as well. Okay, so list it again. Great, so now we need to execute this file. In order to execute, we need to save it and then run the operating system command. So I can simply say, well, actually before anything else, we can this is how we can execute the operating system level command. So here is the content of my desktop. Okay, so now I can say, let's list again. So I can save it as, let's call it scraper.py. Okay, and has been successfully saved. And now if I say execute ls, then I should have the here is my scraper.py. Okay, so we don't need, I'm sorry, we don't actually need this kind of like single quotes. So I can say execute rm and scraper.py. Okay, yeah, probably I need to escape the quotes. Okay, and execute ls, so I no longer have this. Okay, let's try to save this again, simply saying scraper.py and execute list, and here is the source code. Okay, so now we can start a new document here. So if we list, after making a new document, we see no lines of code being available, and now we can simply say load scraper.py and list, and here is the content of the file that we've just created. Now we can execute this file by saying execute and then the command to execute. So python 3 and .py, and here we go. So we got the output of this kind of script being working right within the development environment. And for me personally, this is one of the most important features, because when I develop, I really want to I don't really want to distinguish between writing the code and executing the code. So I want everything to be bundled all together. Okay, so hope this is clear, and now let me show you how exactly the same thing may work with different programming languages. So let's say, so I just want to create a new file and list. Okay, so let's create a file in C programming language, so I can say include stdio.h and then int main and like this, then printf and say hello world, okay, and then return 0. And let's have a look. So here is the source code. Now let's save it. So save hello.c, okay, and actually now we can execute it. So I can say execute gcc hello.c minus o hello, and run this hello, and we have an error. Okay, so I just forgot to put the colon. So how can we fix this? That's very simple. So just list. So we see the colon is missing here in line number 4, so we can just edit that line. So I can say edit, then the line number, and then I can say printf and the colon now, and hello world, and the new line. Let's have a look. Now this should be working nicely. Yeah, the command history is available as well, so we can just execute this again. Okay. Oh, this happens because I forgot to save the file, so yeah, obviously I need to say save hello.c, and now if we run, we have this hello world being kind of working, but also, yeah, let's put a new line, and yeah, so edit. If I want to print, so line 4, 2 spaces, then printf and hello world. A little bit of a downside is that we can actually edit, so we need to rewrite the line content absolutely from scratch every time. But this is exactly what we needed to do back in the day, say on ZX Spectrum computer, which this kind of interactive shell is inspired by. So yeah, let's go and execute it. Again, like I forgot to save, so I need to say save hello.c, and here we go. So now we get the output from the C file. And now you might wonder that something might be a little bit wrong with the syntax, because by default it's using the syntax for Python. However, if we just load the file with the given extension, so let's say load hello.c, and list, in this case it would have syntax highlighting for C language, and whatever language we load, it would be the respective syntax highlighting there. Okay guys, so the very last thing to consider, I just want to show you the source code, because it's really small, I would say, and I just really want to quickly look, quickly walk through that just to give you an idea of how it works. So let's execute, let's just load, and so currently I'm on a desktop, so the folder is called .x. Let's specify the, let's check that out for sure. Okay, so where am I currently? Yeah, ZX shell, here it is. I need this folder. Okay, so load ZX shell, and the file name is called zxshell.py, and here we go. So here is the source code of our file. Okay, so let's quickly walk through it line by line. So it mainly works on this standard built-in Python CMD. So it's kind of like a command interpreter. Okay, so system and OS modules are needed. So system is needed to exit from the script. OS is needed to execute the operating system level commands. And by the way, if you want to run this on Windows, you need to make sure that you replace the clear command let's say here and everywhere it occurs with the CLS, which is Windows operating system specific, but I'm using this on Linux, and this is really intended to be used on Linux. However, it should be possible to be used on Windows as well. So pygments is the library, is an absolutely fascinating library to highlight the code when we list the source code. So I just decided to distinguish this. So when we just input the source code, it's not highlighted. However, if we do list the source code, it does get highlighted. So it's just the intro where with like this shell starts with, like reading the user command like the prompt to the user. Lines is the most essential data structure. It contains all the source code line by line. And this, well, we don't even need this kind of guy, so I'll remove them later on. This is the default laxer for highlighting, which uses Python 3 laxer. Okay, so do and then followed by the name. So if say I type quit, so this is the callback function for quit. This is the callback function for list. This is the callback function for insert, and so on. So let's quickly walk through them. So if we want to quit, we just exit from the script. If we want to list, so every time it makes sure that not to append the command itself to the source code, and that happens because in order to being able to append trailing spaces in front of the line, I needed to take care of the raw input in this pre-CMD. So I'm just appending the raw input here, and that's the reason why in every single function I need to make sure that I just pop the line, because the very last line being added would be contained in the commands, and I really need to pop that. So list is trivial, so we just loop over lines within the self lines. We loop over the indices, and we use index to print the line number with the trailer with the two trailing zeros before, or depending on if this is like line number 1, it would be two zeros before. If this would be like line number 10, it would be 1 0. If this would be line 100, there won't be any trailing zeros at all. So we do highlight this stuff, okay, and and that's pretty. So just print every line to the terminal. So insert allows. So yeah, by the way, every command is documented. So if you just type something like help, then you'll get a list of commands, and help, let's say edit, would give you a clue how to use it. So edit line, and this is how to use it. So edit and the line number, and then it would kind of edit the line number 3, and so on. So every command is documented. That's the standard feature of this CMD class in Python. Okay, so what else? Yeah, so insert, we just using the standard insert method for Python list. So we extract the index of where to insert our line into the lines list. We take like the very first element of the line, -1, okay, and then the content of the line on its own. Execute allows to execute the system command, whatever we want. Clear just executes the OS clear, just a shortcut. We could have used like say do exec and then clear, well, but I just decided to make this little shortcut. Okay, again, like if it doesn't work for you, you can just use exec and then CLS if you're on Windows. You don't even need to, probably you won't need to change the source code in that way, in that case. So creating a new document, so it like makes the lines empty and clears the output. Yeah, so in this case you'll probably need well, yeah, it's just better to change this to CLS if you're on Windows. I could make a wrapper for this, like depending on the operating system, but I don't really think that somebody's gonna be using this. I'm just making this for my own self, just to make programming videos, like some sort of a personalized environment for making programming videos, just to stand out on YouTube. That's pretty it. So it's not really intended for like end users. I believe no one is gonna be interested in using this in his daily stuff. Kind of like, okay. So save just saves to the file. So it's very simple. Just opens the file stream and writes the lines there. That's pretty it. Load does the same. It just populates the lines with whatever we have. With whatever we have within the source file. Editing allows to replace the line at a given index, so we're just indexing the line at the this argument and replacing the content. That's pretty it. Delete just deletes the entire line within the self lines. Pre-command, I've been covering this already, so just it's needed to. So if I don't use it here, if I use the default function instead, it won't be appending the trailing spaces, and for languages like Python it's absolutely essential because of the indentation issues. So I hope that's clear. Yeah, empty line, I override the empty line function, because otherwise, let's say we list and then we hit enter, it would be executing the last command. I don't really want that, so on empty line we just do nothing. That's pretty it. And the default is overridden as well to pass, because otherwise it would be given some errors. And yeah, end of file just to quit on pressing Ctrl D on Linux. And yeah, just clearing the console before we start, and creating the shell instance and running the shell loop. And to quit, we just wanna say quit. Okay guys, so this is it from my side. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, and take care.